Hello, my name's Sarah Friswell and I'm Red Ant's CEO. First of all, thank you for Reflect for inviting me to talk to you today about how I believe account management can propel your career. I truly believe account management is the best career you've never heard of. Not many people set out to be an account manager, and as you will have heard if you've listened to them, Becky and Julia will have outlined what a hugely inclusive role it is, and that it can harness many people's natural abilities, is truly inclusive of experience and background, and those character traits and behaviours are building blocks that will elevate your career and often your life. Some of these you may have already developed during studies or a part-time job that provided you with the foundations to grow within the business, or, as Becky has spoken about, even lead a business. Firstly, I'd like to share very briefly my story so far. When I was at school in Tunbridge Wells, filling out UCAS forms, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I loved humanities along with English literature due to the variety of texts, and it was here I discovered Margaret Atwood, along with real life examples in history, evaluating the past, and geography, looking at the world around us and how for both of those subjects, action shapes society and our planet. After studying history and American studies at Manchester Metropolitan, I returned home and took a job in Maidstone that still at that point allowed me to maintain a good balance of work and student type life. But after a few months, this became quite mundane, so I started to look at options in terms of a career. While still at uni, in the final months, I'd applied for a few PR roles, as that was a role I was familiar with. I then applied for a sales role, also something that people often spoke about as a job if you were people facing. I decided that the sales role was not for me, but the company did invite me back to interview for an account management role. But what was this? This was a pivotal moment for me, as it allowed me to realise that the skills you possess naturally can be your superpowers. This role was all about helping people, building relationships, and the nuts and bolts of delivering a campaign in often tight timescale. As I reflect back to that role nearly 20 years ago this summer, I wanted to talk to you today about the 6 skills that I think this role in account management has allowed me to develop. Problem solving, influence, strategic thinking, being a presenter, becoming a business leader if you choose, and also how it expands your horizons, not just within the workplace, but for you personally. So first off, I wanted to talk about problem solving. I love putting a plan together, whether that's for a campaign, a project, or even a weekend away with friends. What this role has taught me, though, is that you always need to have a plan B, a plan C, and often a plan D. There are very few projects that you deliver alone. Therefore, you are relying on other people. And this is the area where you're organising other people that leaves you most exposed to risk. And if you don't identify that, it allows you to control in the most possible way. But this is what keeps you on your toes. It makes you analyse the risk. And most importantly, when you're having that head in your hands moment, you knew to expect this, and you actually have a team member waiting on hand to help in that last week to get the project over the line because you were prepared. As experience will show you, time and time again, similar issues arise. It also teaches you to glide through the curveballs. Sometimes, however prepared you are, you can't foresee what's going to happen. And ironically, a lot of the time, these are to do with technology. It's often the biggest challenge when you're trying to connect someone remotely in a pitch presentation. But as this happens more and more, you know that this is normal and you have a plan B. The second area I'd like to talk to you about is influence. This role sets you up to be the eyes and ears of the clients within your given business. The client entrusts you to deliver the project that their manager is asking for. All eyes are on them. As you become good at this, you build a reputation within your own business and that of the client, and people come to you for advice. You are considered the oracle. What should we do next? They're asking you. Although you might not always have the answer, it prepares you to speak with confidence, and through experience and time, your gut will start to deliver on these answers for you. And there's more about your gut in the next point. As you're more exposed to more clients, more people will look to speak to you. And how do you develop that intuition to help guide others and people come to you as a source of reference? The next point is strategic thinking. A lot of focus is put in on being strategic. In basic terms, this is the ability to think above the day-to-day tasks and start to set out a roadmap for where you want to get to. As you progress through the various roles in the account management ladder, you'll begin to see the word strategic pop up in more and more senior job descriptions, and you will be required to lead the team on proposing to the client the direction of a campaign, how much they should spend on digital marketing that year, and that of course requires a plan that is based on strategy. There are lots of building blocks that can help you define the path, whether that's SWOT analysis, so looking at the strengths of what they're doing, the weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats, competitor analysis, how do you stack up against others operating the same space, qualitative research, looking at the data, understanding what the trends are showing you, but also qualitative research, what do people think about your brand, what happens when they stop someone in a supermarket and discuss in more detail. As you pull all this information together, a picture starts to emerge. Someone I worked with many years ago told me it was experience that led you to be strategic, but I think it's more than that. I think that what you're actually training is your gut. That feeling that you don't necessarily know why you believe something, but guides you on the decisions you need to make. Don't drown out this feeling. Yes, question it, but over time it delivers the ability for you to make decisions. And most importantly, trust yourself. The next area I want to talk about is being a presenter. Presenting is hard. I know lots of people who are amazing presenters, some of which the skills come naturally. They enjoy it, but for many it will have been rehearsed countless times before you see that presentation. Due to the client-facing element of account management, this early on requires you to become comfortable with speaking up, leading a meeting, presenting a pitch, and just like all the skills, the more that you do it, the better you get. Look for opportunities to present within your team, to present within your business. And I promise you, the magic number for presenting for anyone, even the best presenter, is practice it at least 3 times. This allows you to build on the influence, but also allows you to start looking at how you can have impact outside of your own business. Many people in the account management ladder also become speakers on their own subject area as people ask them to share their knowledge and experience. This leads me on to leading. We often describe the account manager role as the glue that holds the team together. As the link between the client and the internal team, you hold a lot of the information and become really experienced at directing others to the end goal. This means, in addition to influence, you become to expose the qualities that require you to lead. A hugely important trait that is becoming more and more important in leadership is empathy. Over time, you direct other people within a project and you develop an awareness for how they feel, their point of view, and understand that not everyone is starting from the same position each day. This exposure to others builds your experience of how everyone feels about work and their individual stories. You'll read many articles about the five important traits of a leader, and I believe through account management you start to build on these. As the world evolves, some will become more important than others. But if there's one skill that I suggest you read about, that is empathy. People gravitate towards leaders who care about the business, who care about the people, and who care about the planet. Lastly, I wanted to share with you an image that might seem quite strange. But what this is about the opportunities that exist outside of the office of your day-to-day. As you build on the other skills we've spoken about, you're trusted by the client, opportunities such as travel or other experiences can open up. The image you can see here is from the Ritz-Carlton, Singapore, a view from my bathroom when I was there in 2009. I was taken there by Volvo while working in Dubai. As an agency, we had a close relationship with the client. They valued our strategic opinions, and once a month we would present our latest ideas that fed into the global strategy for Volvo. Following one of those presentations in the Dubai office, I was asked by the client to join them on their dealership conference in Singapore and present our work. Not only was that great practice, it was hugely important for our relationship in the region, but personally, I got to spend 3 days enjoying all the activities that the dealers were and seeing all the high points of Singapore. So while not every day is having fun, there are lots of benefits personally. For example, my team has recently, following 3 days of intense meetings in Dubai, spent the evening at a desert safari. And if you're working in the right place, account management, although a hard role, the business will ensure that as well as working hard, there are opportunities for you to enjoy yourself. So, circling back to what we first spoke about, although most of you probably have not heard of an account management role, I urge you to look into it more. If it's something that's of interest to you, reach out to Becky, Julia, or myself and think about what are the type of experiences and skills you'd like to build on. Thank you very much.